in this video I'm going to be talking to you about the power of positive affirmations or positive thinking, and how we can teach this to your child or children. Now, using affirmations is a really effective and powerful tool that can be used by yourself, but equally by your children. So I would really recommend that if you are drawn to teaching your children how to use these affirmations, that you do so, that you start to learn to use them for yourself to see how effective they truly can be. So I think the first thing that I need to talk about, just so that you understand a bit of the background about how effective they can be, is that everything in our physical world, on our physical planet, has an energy. So we have an energy. Plants, animal life have, they all have, everything has an energy. And this has been proven by science. And I always say, if you chop our bodies up, or parts of us up, into tiny little quantum-sized pieces, and put them under a microscope, we would see that those parts, those atom-sized pieces, are actually vibrating, because this is the energy that we are seeing. So, and we know that, we also know that this energy is within our thoughts and within our feelings as well, and this has also been proven. So I've spoken a lot about this in other videos that I'm sure you'll come across in my playlists. But what's important to realize is that this energy will impact on your physical body, and it will impact completely and utterly on people around you in your immediate environment as well. So this is why it's so important to be aware of how we're feeling and how we're thinking at any given moment. Now, obviously, this is a huge aspect of mindfulness, is this ability to be aware of how we're thinking and how we're feeling. And it's a skill in itself. But once we're aware, once we start to become aware more of how we're thinking and feeling, we can then begin to use tools like positive affirmation to change that negative thinking into a more positive thinking. So basically, positive affirmations is one way to help your child or yourself focus more on the positive aspects of your or their lives. Okay, so now we've had that little bit of a background, I'm going to kind of explain to you how I would go about working out some affirmations for myself or your child. You can do this with your child, and how to use them to combat that negative thinking. First of all, I would like to point out that this is probably more apt or appropriate rather for kind of, I'd say, sort of 10, 11-year-olds and upwards. I personally wouldn't teach a child younger than that, because I feel they don't have that reasoning and that understanding yet. I mean, you may prove me wrong, but that's what I've found in my own experience as a teacher and as a parent. But by all means, have a go. So first of all, what I do is, if I was working with a child, I would sit them down and I say, okay, what are the sorts of things that you worry about or you think about every day that kind of you feel kind of brings you down, or makes you feel sad, or makes you feel angry, or that you feel you're struggling with, or whatever. What is it that you're worrying about, etc., etc. And I would get them to write it out as a sentence. So for example, they may say something like, I'm worried I'm not good at maths, or I feel I don't have a lot of friends, or I feel nobody cares about me, or any of those sorts of things. Get them to write it down as a sentence. They can see it in front of them. And then I explain to them that, those thoughts or those feelings are going to have an impact on us, on you, as in, I'd say that to the child, on your physical body, and it will also, impact people around you. So it's almost like you're kind of generating this force field of negativity that other people will sense and pick up on, and maybe not want to come to you so much, or be around you so much. I think it's important in a very light way to point this out to the children that you're helping. Because I think there's a lot of angst and a lot of anxiety, particularly in teenagers, around friendship groups and feeling unsupported because no one understands them. And there's a lot of pressure as well, obviously from school and from home, and peer pressure. And I think it's important to say these things, but to tread lightly with them. But they do need to have an understanding of why we're using the positive affirmations. Otherwise, it just kind of becomes a bit of a meaningless task that they do. So we've established that their thoughts and their feelings will be impacting others and will be impacting themselves. And we've been trying to pinpoint the sorts of feelings and thoughts that they struggle with on a daily basis. So then what you need to do with them is to help them change that thought. It's almost like a negative affirmation, if you want. It's something they're constantly repeating to themselves in their heads. Remember how many thoughts we have? Well, you've got to point out that they've now pinpointed that negative feeling or thought, but now we're going to try and turn it around into more of a positive one. Now, at this point, I would say, although you can help them, it's really important that they say this in their own words, that they come up with a statement, a positive statement that's in their own words. It's got to be true to them. So if we go back to the examples that we thought of, for example, we had, I feel I have no friends, at school, nobody likes me, I feel I have no friends. Well, then they could say something like, I'm really good at making friends, or I feel very supported by my friends, something like that, to counteract the negative statement or affirmation they've been repeating to themselves. And I point out that they may feel that it's not true at that point, but it's really important that they repeat the positive statement to themselves. But it's also really important that they feel it to be true, because our feelings are so powerful, and they will be directly creating our reality. Your thoughts and your feelings directly create your reality with that energy. Remember, I told you that our thoughts and our feelings have an energy, and this directly creates our reality. That's really important that we understand that. So by realizing that, again, that highlights the importance of changing the negative affirmations into more positive ones. So by realizing that, we're going to start changing those thoughts. We're going to start changing those feelings, so that your child or children, or whoever you're supporting, or even yourselves, will start to see a shift in your reality. We'll start to see shifts in the way people are with you and the way you are with people, because you're shifting it. You're shifting and changing. You're focusing more on the positive. So if, for example, your child is feeling that they're not very good at maths, or they're not very good at school with schoolwork, then they change that negative thought into something positive. So for example, I am getting better and better at maths, or I'm learning more and more about maths. My math skills are strengthening or developing. Instead of focusing on the negative thing about what they can't do, you turn that around and you focus on what is happening. Okay. So, and as I said, because you're changing that negative into a positive, this is they're going to start seeing that more and more happening for them in their immediate reality. So that's really important that they understand that, and that it's not just about repeating sentences. I mean, obviously there is a part of that, but it's about bringing that feeling more into themselves, as though it's already happened. So it's like you or they have got to already feel that they're a really, really good at maths, or that they are surrounded by lovely friends. That is the feeling they've got to bring inside themselves. So what I say is, as soon as they hear themselves, or feel themselves thinking about a lack or something they're not good at, or something that worries them, or they feel those feelings starting to kick in for them, those negative feelings, they've got to think or get into habit, use my positive affirmation, start repeating the positive affirmation. But what is really, really important is that they start to feel it as though it's already happened. Okay.